All right. Well, welcome, Danielle. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yay! So, man, I can remember we were just talking about how, when you start to develop and so many changes that happens to us as mothers, as a developing medium, as somebody that is learning to be a spiritual person having a human experience, right? You're kind
Very
of
much.
swapping roles here instead of being a human having a spiritual experience. But I
Yeah.
think what's very interesting about you is your determination and motivation through your illness and the struggles that you went through. And you're one of my favorite because of that. Because I think as a teacher, I learn and become stronger from you guys too. And your story just fascinated me. Even in moments where you physically were not feeling well, you're like, I'll get the homework done. It'll be done. Just give me a day or give me a couple of days. And you would jump in there and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the most beautiful part about you was the fact that you were already a nurse. Okay. And you were helping people already. Go figure, which we will.
Right. What a blessing. I didn't, I had no idea when I went into nursing that this would, that I would end up going on the spiritual journey and really opening up, and then utilizing all of the knowledge that I had obtained going to school and working as a nurse into mediumship.
It's so beautiful. And I mean, what a beautiful thing to merge. I remember, Danielle, knowing you were a nurse. I'm like, oh my God, how is it? And, how is it when you're there and someone's passing? And, because being a medium, they tell you these things. But for
Mm-hmm.
you to have had experienced it, go figure, synchronicity, you would put this course together to be able to help people expand. Because, of course, we want to know these things, Danielle, but do we have how many years of college to take?
Right.
No.
Right. Well, and even, learning just the bit in college, just those 4 years in college, that doesn't even compare to what you learn working in the field and being really active and involved and, right there in the action of taking care of patients, seeing the disabilities, seeing the illnesses, seeing the death. I mean, people don't really like to talk about that. People don't like to address it in the real world, I think, as often as it's really comfortable and easy to talk about in healthcare because we see it and we're enveloped in it on a daily basis. So I felt like part of what I could do to help and help spread the light and spread the knowledge was to put this together to say, hey, it's not a horrible thing to talk about death in readings if spirit so desires. And oftentimes, I don't know, I've heard a lot of people say this, but I had this right when spirit would come through in the beginning, I would automatically start getting symptoms and know how they passed. And that was a huge validation for me a lot of times in confirming who we were with, who we were linking with. Because I could say, I've got your grandpa here. Well, a lot of people have a lot of grandfathers in spirit, not just one. But if I can say, I've got your grandfather here, and I can tell that he had a brain hemorrhage, he had a stroke, and I can also tell that the left side of his body he had hemiparesis, or he had, paralysis. He was paralyzed on the left side of his body. There's little different things like this that you can pick up on. And I think that spirit tries to give us all of these things, but we don't necessarily understand diagnoses and symptoms to be able to put those things together, and additionally to confirm what we're receiving. Because you can say, oh, I've got a massive headache. He must have had some kind of head trauma or some kind of a head problem. Yes. And what else? How else can you go deeper? And I feel like people that haven't, had the experience and that knowledge base might disregard a tingling left hand or, slurred speech. They might think, okay, so I've got a massive headache and I've got slurred speech and I've got tingling, but it's a confirmation, a validation. Those are all symptoms of stroke.
And I think what I find very interesting about it is that some students, yeah. Can you hear me, Danielle?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Sorry. What I find interesting is the fact that some students, if they are medical and medical intuitives, they'll start feeling all of this, Danielle. And it's the first place they go. So I think your course has so many benefits for so many reasons. And one of the first ones that I can think of is if you are a medical intuitive, you're feeling those symptoms. And no matter what teacher you work with, that teacher has to complement that and know how to help them through that. Because like you said, they could be linked in and say, man, I feel tingling in my left hand. I feel pain in my head. And you're like, no, go to the message. Who is it? Is it a man? But if you're a medical intuitive, you're scanning that body automatically. That's happening first before you can even bypass to start moving forward with the evidence. So this is amazing for them to have that and feel good about, okay, I can identify it and move past it. Because what happens is they'll feel it and stay with it and not be able to move past it.
Right, absolutely. And I also feel that it's really good. It's good knowledge for all bases of development, all areas of development, because you can be trying to hone in, and kind of focus in on certain aspects of the reading. So you can try to go deeper if you're, more developed medium. And if you're not as developed as a medium, it can help build your frame of reference. And it helps. Also, I think for me, it helped me feel more comfortable allowing spirit to show me through feeling.
That's rough. That's not easy, because it can, if you can identify the feeling, it feels like you're feeling and you feel stuck with it.
Right. Exactly. But when you can recognize, oh, I'm having chest pain. Oh, I'm having left jaw pain at the same time. And I'm having numbness down my left arm. What's going on? Well, those are heart attack symptoms. So the spirit could just be telling you and showing you, I passed away from a massive heart attack, and these were what my symptoms were. And usually if spirit goes that in depth, usually my sitter is somebody that actually directly cared for that person, and they can go and they know, yes, you're right. Oh my gosh, he complained of jaw pain for 2 weeks and I feel so guilty because I didn't know, and it just opens up a whole new avenue. And it knowing that information brings you to a place of vulnerability with the person, our sitter, and our spirit, the loved one. It brings you to that place of vulnerability where people feel nervous to enter, because it's like, oh, I'm afraid to talk about that, or I'm afraid to bring up the passing. I don't want to tear off old wounds, things like this that I felt, and I still feel from time to time. But when you can feel into that or know what they're showing you, you can hone in on it and you can discuss that more deeply and at a more compassionate level.
Sure. And then that lets the sitter know, hey, they want to talk about it, because they're literally giving me detail to their last moment. And so I think the second beautiful part was something that you mentioned, which is reference library. I call it your frame of reference. I call it reference library. And the reason I like to call it reference library, Danielle, is because it's easier to explain to my mediums that you can look at it as a library, and spirit is checking. It's like you're checking books out, but instead of books, they're checking memories out. They're checking memories of that you're being given, and they're checking it out. And so your frame of reference is your experiences, and we begin to build our frame of reference since we're babies. Think about it. How do we know that a bottle is going to feed, that's our food?
Right.
But a little baby gets so excited when they see the bottle. It's a symbol. They know. Now that stays with them, right? Now they know to put their hands out. That's a symbol. Mommy, pick me up. Yes. So we begin to develop all these frames of reference, and we don't realize it. But like you said, we want to expand. Like I tell people, go into the grocery store and go in the authentic aisle. Look at the Italian foods. Look at the Polish foods. Look at the Mexican foods. Take pictures of it and study it. Print it out. Put it in front of you. Learn the birthstones. Because in spirit, it will be effortless for spirit to give you things to bring their memory alive. Now, when we're talking about the medical part, which is something people really want, Danielle. They really want to get ways of passing. How brilliant is it that you're giving them books to put in that library?
Right. And just that I feel so blessed to be able to. I mean, I really didn't realize the knowledge that I had. I just thought it was kind of expected, and I just thought everybody kind of had it. You know, because when it's kind of like mediumship, like when you're enveloped in the community, you feel like everybody's a medium. You know, and you're like, everyone is.
Yeah.
Everybody is, right? It's kind of the same way in healthcare. Like, you think everybody knows this stuff. I am not doing anything different. My frame of reference isn't different. And it took some time, you know, after being in mediumship for a while, where people are like, whoa, how do you know that? And I'm like, what? So then that was when the light bulb went on, and you kind of helped me, and you're like, wait, you need to
I'm
share.
Like, girl, what are you doing? Like, oh my God, put that on paper again. Girl, I want it. I want to be in your class. Yes, you know, and I think that was the most beautiful part about it, was like, man, if I had that, I would so want to give it. And you're so giving. That's the thing about you too, is that you have the heart, Danny. You have this presence about you. You really love everything you do. And that helps people to be comfortable with what they're doing. You know, even in the chat right now, you have a couple people that, hello everybody, on behalf of myself and Danielle, but you have a couple people that are mentioning that they're work in the medical field. But have they thought about for 1 second the advantage that the great reference library that they have?
Yes. And I encourage those of you that work in the medical field, share your knowledge. You know, I feel like that's just the biggest thing that I've learned I truly feel it's the biggest thing I've learned through my developmental process, is the only way we can expand is to share what we have and what we know. And I feel like that's why we come from that place of giving. And you're exactly the same way. You know, like, we're always willing to work with people. We're always willing to try, you know, we have to have our energy exchange, right? Because we put in a lot of time and a lot of effort into preparing our classes and to preparing ourselves for, you know, our sitters, our clients, our students, everybody. But, you know, we're always willing to accommodate people, and we're always willing to share as much as we can. And I feel like, you know, if you work in healthcare, absolutely share that knowledge, because it just becomes kind of mundane to us, and we just kind of desensitize to the fact that we have so much information about the human body and the system.
Sure. But you know, Danielle, when we say share, you know, share with the spirit world. Share with the spirit world first. Like, share with them first. Like, sit down in your bottom line and say, use all that I have. I am open to you using and saying how you had a heart attack and you had a pacemaker. I mean, the deepest I've gone is the pacemaker, and that's because my boss had a pacemaker. And before she had the pacemaker put in, I went through all the phases with her, how she got fatigued, how she kept getting water around her heart. And I was so sad and so supportive. And I learned about it. So that even that little part in my life they took and they used. I'm like, oh my God, imagine knowing. So let's go over how you broke this course down and what they gain. And to place in their reference library, if taking this course. It's 5 weeks or 4 weeks?
It's 5. It's 5, but throughout this session, we actually are taking 1 week off because I've got some prior engagements, but so it's 5 weeks in total. It starts in the first week of April, and what I do is I break it down to the first session is anatomy and physiology review. Like, let's just go through the body. Like, what are the major body systems and how do they work? And how it's kind of like the hierarchy of the system. It's almost like, you know, when you have a vehicle, you know that your vehicle drives, and you know that if you turn the start button, it's going to turn on, and you know all these, you know, how to drive your car and operate it. But do you actually know how to lift the hood and change the oil and check the engine and all that goes into the mechanic work, into the inside of the car to make it go? So this is kind of me just running down through the anatomy of the body, because we all know what our bodies do. We all have a general, you know, rule of it makes us move, it keeps us safe, it protects us from infection, those things, keeps us alive. But what about the systems? What about the organ systems, and how do they support each other? And what systems have what organs in them? So we go through that first, and then from there on, every week we do 3 of the top 10 causes of death and chronic illnesses. So oftentimes, most of them go together. So I don't really need to divvy it up, chronic illness versus death, because usually the most common causes of death accompany those comorbidities or those diagnoses of chronic conditions. So we go through those. We go over the signs and symptoms, what you can expect from a patient standpoint. If you're the person that's observing what's going on, what you can expect to see kind of following each symptom. We review how to bring that into your particular form of light work. In this class, I don't teach you how to connect. I don't teach you the basics of mediumship. That's your job.
Yay!
But what I do is I just give you the knowledge, okay, of how to incorporate that or how to interpret that in your practice. So I've had Reiki instructors, Reiki masters come and do the class as well, because they're like, whoa, wait a minute. I know that I'm a healer and I know that I'm intuitive and I can send my healing energy to where I need to. I can feel it. But I've had practitioners say, oh, but now I recognize, you can connect the dots. Now I see why they had this, this, and this. And now I understand that if I work on this particular organ system as well, that might have benefits as well. So that's kind of the whole purpose of it, is to say, okay, just make you aware. So like for me, my particular frame is mediumship. I haven't done Reiki, but like I use my experiences and I'll share, just like I did with you, how our frames of reference work and how you can interpret things, feel, see, hear, smell. I've had patients say, I really, I can tell, I get a really sweet odor in my mouth or in my nose. Do most people know that that's actually a symptom of diabetes?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
My God. That is so cool. Wow.
So I try to break it down and I try to, it's very, there's not a lot of practice with it. I give you the tools
and then you put it in your reference library, because that's once you have the knowledge, that's it, Danielle. Once you have the knowledge in reference to even psychic, because if you're reading, this class is for healers,
everyone.
So you can identify when you're scanning the body where where you're stopping, where the healing is needed. It's also for psychics, because psychics, when you're reading someone, if they say, hey, what's going on with my health, you can get that as a symbology. It's for mediumship, because obviously that goes in your reference library now, and spirit can check that out. Like, hey, I had a pacemaker because I had open heart surgery, because I started having right? So you're giving them a tool, and their experience and development will allow that to evolve in their practice. But
exactly.
what a beautiful, amazing tool to identify ways of passing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a big part of a lot of times what spirit wants to come in and say.
It is. And I found that, I mean, we can have a whole topic of debate about this, but, I found personally that when I do have sitters or clients that I'm working with, and spirits coming through and they want to discuss that end of life and they want to discuss their symptoms, oftentimes it's because those sitters needed that closure, because they didn't feel like they did enough, or they're kind of holding on to it, or they can't let go of the image or the memory of of that time of passing.
That's a big one.
It is. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I have clients and I have spirit come through that they don't want to talk about that, and they'll tell me, we're going to move on. We're just not even talk about it, because they'll tell me it's too fresh or it's too deep and we need to move on from that. However, oftentimes in that case, they'll bring in the chronic situations, or if there was an accident, or if there was something previous. That's something that's been popping up lately too, is once you start to, kind of expand that reference library, little different tidbits kind of start coming in. So now that, I've noticed when spirit doesn't want to talk about their cause of passing, they'll go forward in their lifeline and tell me if they've had choice points where they almost passed before, and they'll review that with them.
Mm.
So it's not like it's just specifically for cause of death and validation of just cause of death in a reading. You know, I mean, this really spans a lot because everyone has physical issues at some point in their life. And usually when those physical ailments occur, they're life altering, and they're they're traumatic, or they're extremely life altering, and they're huge and need to be healed.
Sure.
So.
I think it's brilliant. So the class is called Biology Concepts of Mediumship.
Biology Concepts in Mediumship. Yeah.
Mediumship. And what time are you offering? You said the first week of April?
Yep. So it's going to be every Thursday in April, with the exception of one. And then the first 2 Thursdays in May. So this session, I try to alter the sessions. So like last session, I did it in the evening, and this session I'm doing it in the early part of the day. I'm on Pacific time during the spring and summer. So it's like 11 o'clock in the morning for me. So it starts at 11 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock Eastern time. It starts April 5th. So the dates are April 5th, 12th, 26th, May 3rd, and May 10th. The classes are approximately an hour. Last session, we went over frequently, consistently. And what I say to that is there's just a lot of content, and I really cut it down as much as I could to try to fit it into everyone's life, because we're all busy people. So I'm trying to kind of condense it. But we do oftentimes go over. If we do and you have to get off, it's no big deal. We record every week.
And you record it.
Yeah. Yep.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I think one of the nice things about that, and you know, it's something that I started doing, Danielle, that I definitely suggest you should, is, you know, having that recording available for international people, that the time zones are so very off, but they can purchase it and still benefit from the class. Like Australia, the Australia group, I mean, I'm on 5:30 in the morning looking at what's going on with the admin chat and what's going on in there, because that's the time that my 5:30 is like their nighttime.
Oh, right.
So some of them is really, Canada is okay, but it's a great thing that you do by recording it, because you can provide that. And I'm glad we're doing this live on MDS, because we have so much you know, there's just so much of everybody in here, of all different places around the world. And I really like to bring these things, because just because you live and there's such a time difference doesn't mean you can't benefit. We are offering the recordings now. So Danielle, just take the time and kind of maybe make a flyer and put it out there. It's such a great class that I just feel like, man, it's got to, you know, definitely reach as many mediums as possible. I'm excited. I'm really going to try to be in class and be a good student.
Awesome.
Girl, I got ADD. It is so hard pitting. You know that. I mean, you got certified through Soul Side Out. You did mentoring, and I missed you so much, because you're such an awesome soul, and we just vibed off each other. But I
love you so much.
I love you too, and I'm always here. I'm here to support all my students, and to really see you go from going through the course, from doing the mentorship, from getting certified to like taking off. And I'm like, you know what? I want to start. I support all of you guys. Any programs, any courses, because it just makes me smile that you guys are really running with it and saying, I want to be part of the light in the world.
Well, thank you for being the beacon for us, you know, and I mean, you were my first real true introduction into mediumship. You know, like we have these, you know, we have our whatever, however our path goes, and some of us are really intuitive and some of us are afraid and we turn things off, and, you know, and you were just right away, I was drawn to you and I was like, this is it, I need her. And
I just crazy Puerto Rican in your life.
I
know. But the thing was, is like, you could keep up with me, and I'm just a very hyper person, and it's so nice to, like, you know, your frequency will vibrate and attract that frequency. And we had that. Like, I could say things backwards and you'd be like, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm like, oh my God.
So one thing I wanted to say real quick, when you were talking about the globally, that we're so global now with Facebook and with the internet and whatever, this course is also really good globally. I mean, I know there are some frames of reference where you kind of, it's difficult sometimes in different cultures, to kind of pick up on things. And so that's why it's really important to make sure that even if you can't travel, to travel on the internet, like,
yeah, I like that.
Really
travel on the internet. Yay.
Right. Yeah. And, try to familiarize yourself with different cultures and different aspects of life and things like that. But that's what I like about this, is that the human body travels all cultures, all ages. I mean, everybody can connect to the human body and to how our body works and functions.
Absolutely. I really, truly love it. So we'll open up for a couple minutes here and see if anybody has any questions here on Facebook. So if anybody has questions, let me know now on Facebook here. I am reviewing any questions. Somebody said, Lauren. I think you know Lauren, right? Lauren.
Lauren,
yes. Yeah, Lauren here. You also have another person that said they took your course. Where is she? Kathy? Kathy.
Okay. Hey, Kathy. Yeah, she's awesome.
So you also have her. So hello. Thanks, guys, for joining, because it's great for you guys to give your input having taken the class. I know as soon as I launched it, I sent it out to my advanced students and even my intermediates, because at intermediate, they are, working with their frame of reference, their reference library. And so they're excited. So I know a couple of them, Natasha, she's here. She decided to take it. She also works in the medical field. So it'll be a good ad for her. Yeah, it'll be a very good ad for her. Lisa Short, she also signed up as well. She's very excited. She's in our intermediate class as well. So I'm just so excited about it, because guys, the more that we come together, the more that we can grow. It's not I, it's we. And you will hear me say that 20 million times, but Danielle is the perfect example. She went through the 18 weeks. She had her trials and tribulations like we all do. She is a mother, she is a wife, but you know what? She stuck through it. And Stacy, oh yay, Stacy Dolman.
She made it. Hi,
was she in your class?
So she's doing it this session.
Okay, so she was in the class after you, the Soul Side Out after.
Oh, no. Oh, we were in class together. Yep, I'm sorry. We were together.
Yay, so that's cool. Look at that. Stacy, what's going on? I'm waiting for your class, girl. What is it that you're going to conjure up, girl? You got a lot of good information going on there.
You know what Stacy needs to teach is a law of attraction.
There you go. So, start putting it together. Look, your classmate told you. I told you, girl, get it together. She has a wonderful energy as well. There's just this thing about her too, and she's just always so helpful.
She is. She really
I love it. So let's see. Do you see a person leaving their body? Somebody's asking that as a nurse. I don't know if they're asking that as a nurse. Did you ever feel the experience of that?
So I would love to share that. So I was intuitive, but I turned everything off. So I was not a working medium when I was nursing. I've been stepped out of nursing now for about a year and a half due to my health issues. But yes, so I've been in the room a lot of times with patients passing away. At the beginning of my nursing career, I worked in a nursing home, which is kind of typical standard. You have to kind of work your way up through the ranks and further your education. So I started out in the nursing home, and we had a lot of hospice patients. And, there's a lot of end of life in the nursing home. So I saw a lot of it there. And then as I worked my way up through the hospital, I ended up in ICU for the last 7 years or so. And a lot, you see a lot of it. And yes, I can't say that I see spirit leave the body, but I feel it. And I can feel it. It kind of starts at the base of my spine and travels up my spine. And it's almost like it, makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up all the way up. And then it's like you can almost feel their energy in the room. And I did a lot of my nursing in my early years of nursing here in Arizona. And there's a lot of, Native American traditions and things like that. And one of the big traditions is that you have to open the window so the soul can get out. Ooh. Which I know it doesn't really
That's beautiful. No,
so that's like my thing. So that's my thing. And it's hard in the hospital to do it sometimes because sometimes the windows are sealed shut. So sometimes I would be like, okay, come on, I'll take you outside.
Yeah.
But you can feel it. You can definitely feel the shift in energy. And you can, and they do too. You'll hear it all the time. And it would kind of ring alarms for me when I was working in the nursing home, when patients would be like, my mom is sitting at the edge of the bed. My grandpa's sitting over in the corner.
Yeah.
My son is sitting on the floor and he's telling me that it's time for me to come home. I have goosebumps.
I just had the shivers.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful, beautiful experience. And I don't mean it in a morbid way. I mean it in a really vulnerable way, that there's the two most vulnerable times in your life are when you're born and when you die. And to be able to help somebody pass away with dignity and with love and full of love and compassion, it's like the best last gift you can give someone. So
and you just you being that person, you bring love. What you see is what you get. You are not my daughter calls it try hard. I don't You're not a try hard, Danielle.
There were times in my life when I was.
We all were.
I mean, we have to grow into our authenticity.
Everybody has to be a try hard at some point, but then you try hard. But then you build that love and that presence, and you fall in love with it, and that presence fills you, and you bring that. So they were very lucky, each and every person that had you, and I was very lucky to have you in my class. I really am, and have you as a friend. You are my friend, and
I really. You're my soul sister.
Girl, you already know, sister from another mister.
That's right.
And I would used to call you my mini-me because you read like me. You're just like, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, I love you so much. If I could only read as well as you, you are just phenomenal.
Girl, you are brilliant. A lot of people definitely are in a place of just having the love and the passion as we do. And that's really all it takes, is the love and the passion and the trusting. So if people want to enroll, what is the contact information for you? Do you have a website, an email, a number? Give it all, because I know they're in love with you, because I know I'm so very in love with you.
Oh, I love you. So I have my registration enrollment flyer that I will post after we finish up with this meeting. I'll post it in the comments section.
Okay.
And yes, so please feel free to email me, PM me, Danny Psychic Medium, or on Facebook, or PM me on Facebook, Danielle Hannon-Wolfe. Those are my two Facebook pages. Also, my email, it's danihopewolfe@gmail.com. It's DANIHOPEWOLFE, it's long, @gmail.com. And we can be in touch. Yeah, absolutely.
Ralph. Hey, Ralph.
Hey. Ralph's taking it this session. Lori, Ralph, Rita, Stacy. It's like a reunion.
It's a class reunion. Stop it.
I'm so excited.
We're actually talking, to end this, we're actually talking about having this course offered in a coordination a bit to make it work for you, obviously, always. But after each advanced class gets certified, it's a great breakaway class to get certified and go into it. I think it's brilliant. So guys that are in the intermediate now, that are not taking it, you have an opportunity. You'll offer it a couple times a year, I'm sure. And twice a year. And when she offers it, she'll let me know, and I will post away. So if they're, oh yay, Hope is gonna sign up. Yay! Go home. Hope is in Ralph's class too, I believe. Yeah, they're in the class together.
Yeah, so we were all in class together.
We're gonna have a good crew there. There's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm definitely gonna be there, guys, because I wanna be part of that fun, girl.
Yay, it's so exciting.
So I'm very excited about it. And if people want to contact you about readings, because you are medium as well, and I definitely want you to put that out there because you are amazing. So if someone wants to book a reading with you, would they also use the same contact information for that?
Yep, same contact information. I'll also tell you my phone number. I prefer texts just because I'm a mom of 4.
That's how I am too. Oh yeah.
So if you want to, hook up for a reading via text, I'll leave my number. It's okay. Just, no creepers.
Text first, okay? So she knows.
Yeah, please text. Please text first. Yeah, or leave a message because oftentimes one of my kids has my phone and they decline all my stuff. That's kind of how it works. My cell phone number is 480-309-8717. So that's another way to connect with me also.
Good. So for those of you guys that have not, thought about this part of your mediumship, we welcome you to definitely expand. This video will be posted on my YouTube. It will be on as a live event in the MDS group, and Danielle, I'll email it to you as well so we can use this bit. It's a course that makes sense. It's a course that helps you be confident and gain confidence with the evidence you're getting in that area. So again, if you're a healer, if you're a developing psychic, if you're medium, this course can be for you. We're not trying to sell anything. Me and Danielle, we really don't. I believe in this course, and that's why she's on here. If you're guided and you feel this is for you. If you don't feel guided, even though you have a brilliant idea, don't take it. Don't take it because it's not your time and it's not going to work out. But if you're getting tingles in your stomach, sign up today.
And I try to make it fun. We're kind of lighthearted. We try to make it fun. I don't give a lot of homework, so it does. I was talking to one of your intermediate students about it. I was like, I don't give a lot of homework, but this really gels nicely simultaneously with the intermediate course because you guys do the frame of reference section. Yeah.
So I think that's the good part about it. Now that you're getting some of the intermediates that are doing the soul side out, you understand where they're at too. So that is something so nice. It's a nice handoff, because in the position they're in. You know where the advanced are. You know where the ones that are certified are. You know where the ones that are intermediate are. You know that you can relate to all levels of development here. And that's important too, because you have to be relatable.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I love you. You're awesome. I'm excited for class to start. I don't know what time Central Standard Time that is. It's 11:42 here now.
I'm 2 hours behind you right now. So it's a 1:00 Central Standard Time.
It's so perfect. I'm excited. That's a perfect time for me. I'm going to close that out for you.
Yay.
And it's on Thursday, so it works out well. I have nobody, so I'm going to keep that open because I really want to be a student. I really want to sit back and be a student. It's important that even though you're a working medium and even though you're a teacher, that you are a student. Because we are, Danielle, and we will always continue to learn from the spirit world. And I'm excited mostly to do this and be a student and to be talking and chattering with spirit while I'm doing it. Like, oh my God, isn't that cool? Yeah.
And often I've had a lot of patients not patients, I'm sorry, that's part of my habit, my neural pathway development. A lot of students will say, oh my God, that's what that meant in that reading. They'll have this aha, and then the next time they'll know it right away.
Get it.
Yeah, and that's another thing with these. I also give you guys the videos every week and the PowerPoint presentation, so you can keep them, save them to your computer, and you can use them to go back to if you ever, 2 years from now, you're like, I don't know about that. You can be like, oh, I wonder if she talked about it. You can go back through your, computer.
I love it. You have it for reference. You can always go back to it. And so I think it's great. I'm glad that you're doing this, and I support it. And again, guys, you can contact her and the ways that she has given you to contact her. Danielle, keep on keeping on. You're awesome. I can't wait to have you here in Chicago. I hope to have you here for gallery sometime. So
I need to get out there.
Yeah, let's put it out there. Girl, bring your kids. Who cares? Bring them all.
I will.
Girl, I don't care. They could play in one side of the room while we're doing a workshop, and the other people don't mind. Anybody that works with me knows that I'm just kid friendly. I am animal friendly.
I
So
know, you are so loving.
yay! Let's make it happen. But I hope to
Okay.
see you. I hope to see you in March for Paul Jacobs for sure. I'm gonna put you on
Yes,
the waiting
yes,
list. Yay!
for sure.
All right. I
Okay.
love you.
I love
Brilliant.
you.
Keep on shining. You're amazing. Thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
for joining. This again will be on the Mediumship Development Support Group, but reach out to Danielle for details on registration because it is around the corner. And do you have a limit of students that you take per class, or it really, not really, because it's a PowerPoint and the way that
Right.
you can take? That's a good thing, guys. So
Yes.
take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah.
Love you.
All right. I love you. Thank you so
Yay!
much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.